This is the Red Barn.
Hello and howdy doody one and all. Good to have you with us on Red Barn Radio. I'm Brad Becker. This is season number 19 of Red Barn Radio, and tonight we welcome you to show number 734. Adhering still to state and local guidelines concerning distancing and personal protective equipment, we continue to record our weekly programs without an audience in the studio. Our staff and our artists so appreciate that you continue to visit the Red Barn Radio YouTube and Twitch channels to enjoy each and every Wednesday live stream. This evening we bring to the Red Barn stage Mure. Mure, that's Villager plus Lemure. You'll learn more about that. The band is a musically intertwined rock and roll husband-wife songwriting team from Louisville, Kentucky. Joining them in their musical adventures is percussion wizard Jordan Hubbard, rooted just as much in 70s progressive rock as modern alternative and cultivated by the eclectic Louisville music scene. Join us in welcoming Mure to the Red Barn stage.
Good evening and welcome to Red Barn Radio. Wherever in the world you're listening, welcome to Roots Music Southern Style. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn Radio's official radio partner, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Listen online at weku.org. Red Barn Radio is supported by Visit Lex, Lexington, Kentucky's Convention and Visitors Bureau. More information on what Lexington has to offer is at visitlex.com. LexArts, Lexington, Kentucky's premier cultural development, advocacy, and fundraising organization, working for the development of a strong and vibrant arts community as a means of enhancing the quality of life in Central Kentucky. Follow Red Barn Radio on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Here's the host of Red Barn Radio to tell us more about tonight's performers.
This evening we're with Mure. Mure's music is anchored on the chemistry of textural flowing guitar work by Kendra Villager and the flowing melodic bass of Colin Mure. The band is anchored by Jordan Hubbard on drums. They create a jam-filled atmosphere that recalls the psychedelic but presents itself in the simplicity of the tried and true rock and roll power trio. Welcome back, Mure on Red Barn Radio.
Thank you.
This next one's called Hypochondriac. Watch myself for vital signs. Do I dare to check the time? To answer on the wind. Run my hands across my skin. Replay memories again. Cold and heat. Can't open my mouth to speak. Just behind the wall of sleep. Fading the phases of gray. Calling out to make you stay as I watch you walk away. And you know it well that it's getting hard to bear. You're living from inside yourself. Swept in a crowd all alone, holding tight to all our own. Love and fear and skin and bones. Can't trust the ground at my feet. Don't know what it is I need. I'm relearning how to breathe. Calm myself down if there's room for doubt. Can I handle the truth of what I find out? Do I choose it or not? All the things I see, do I bring it to life? It lives in me. You know it well that it's getting hard to bear. You're living from inside your with me in Christ, there's no turning back. The cost of turning of the hour. Thank you. Okay.
All you, sister.
All right, this one's called Capsize. It's kind of about anxiety. So, here we go. 1, 2. I'm seeing it again. On the move in the dark. I dive in a deeper state of a whispering part. Does it all come together? All come together again? Does it all come together? Can you tell me when you've seen it again? In between all the dark, there's something controlling me. Camouflages of hunger. I'm feeling unsafe, and it's taking me over. A capsizing brain, send up a flare. I need you now, 'cause you know that it's coming again. Yeah, you know that it's coming, you know that it's coming away. Will it all come together, all come together again? Well, you know that it's coming, you know when. Can you tell me when? Yeah, you know it, yeah, you know it, that you feel it, that it's coming back to you, and you feel like I'm feeling that it's coming back to you. Cause you know that it's coming, you know that it's coming, you know that it's coming, you know that it's coming. Thank you.
All right, this next one is a big old long one, and it's called Changes in the Weather.
Hear the lessons coming down. It's your turn, but how much can you hold? Falling down beneath you, what does it matter? When we are old but full of endless hopes. Matched him up with any new confirmations. Take it as it comes until it's gone. Can we find a way back to the beginning? Would you pick a page to meet me on? Yeah, yeah. When you feel it all is coming at you way too fast. Just to find a way from losing everything you grab. Shape your mind with changes in the weather. Choose your words after you take your stand. The world is flat, your sky goes on forever. The more you know, the less you want to when you feel it all coming at you way too fast. Just find a way, losing everything you grab. How can I try fighting it, all the while denying it? How can I try fighting it, all the while denying it? How can I try fighting it when all the world's denying it? Everything is eating its own egg, and I can run away, away.
Well, good evening, folks. You're listening to Red Barn Radio, and our band tonight is Villa Mure. And we could spend a lot of time talking about where the name comes from, but I'll just give you a hint. Colin Lemure is the bass player, and Kendra Villager is the lead guitarist, and they're married.
So,
Thus, Villa Mure. And now I don't know how. I guess how would we incorporate Jordan into that name, Villa Hubbard?
not too many.
I don't have to write the song, so I get my name.
Oh, there
out
you go.
of it.
So
Yeah,
you want to
that's
stay
the
free of
trade-off.
that? Okay.
They do the writing. Yeah, I just play. Yeah.
Good. Well, you guys are doing a great job, and
Thank you.
we're really enjoying the music. You know, this is not music classically featured on Red Barn Radio, but I must say it's the music that I would stumble into on Spotify or SoundCloud that would have me tuned into it all day long while I was in the backyard gardening or working, and I would just be digging it from start to finish. It's really, really wonderful.
Well,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
loving all the textures and sounds you have going on.
Thanks.
Yeah, so why don't we just start by trying to sort of maybe pave the route that brought you all to this music. Maybe talking with each of you individually about where you come from, and then we'll try to pull it together and make some shape of it. How's that work? Hey, Colin,
Yeah.
you're over on the left there playing bass. tell us about you and where you're from and how you got into
Like
music as a young person.
geographically, or
Yeah.
where I'm coming from.
Oh, interesting. Well, we'll get into that's for the second interview, where
Right.
you are emotionally, but where you are geographically, maybe we'll start there.
We're located in Louisville now, but I'm from Corydon, Indiana, where there's exactly like 6 musicians, so that's why I left. So actually, Jordan being one of those other 6 musicians that originates from Corydon, Indiana.
Oh, come on.
There's not that many, but which is why it took me until I was probably in my late teens before I got to actually get out and play in a band. But to increase my marketability, I started playing one of these things. I used to play 6 strings, and as it turns out, this is not only a lot easier to get in a band with, but it's a lot more fun. Don't let anybody tell you differently.
What is that place you came from? What's it like there?
Other
than there being
it's a
just
very
6
small
players.
town. Like, I mean, whenever they talk about small towns, that's there's like a Walmart and some people live there, and that's all there is to say about it. Except for that it was the first state capital. I guess that they've been living on that for a long, long time. They've been really pulling the tourists in that way, and that's all they've got going for them. But musically, where I come from, there was a band from Corydon, Indiana, that was also a psychedelic rock power trio, and I saw them whenever I was 14 or so, and was just like, I want to do that.
That must have made a huge impact on
It
you.
made an enormous impact, and as a matter of fact, I'm borrowing this bass from their bass player today. They were a band called the Corner Friends. And I saw that band, and I was just like, I want to do that. And so I started digging into like power trios and like what you could do with just 3 people. And I got into Rush, and I got into the Police, and Cream, and bands like that, and just kind of like that paved the way to everything that I really wanted to do. And then I met Kendra, and I was just like, that's my guitar player right there.
Oh,
That is
nice.
absolutely everything I need in a musician right there.
And more.
And more, as it
Right.
turns out.
Right.
Yeah, the first impression was just the musical part, but sometimes you start playing rock and roll, and the next thing you know, your life partners. It happens that way.
Well, yeah,
sometimes.
that's exciting. That's a really exciting thing, really. It's a wonderful thing when that can happen. Yeah. What did you so going back to that time when you started to delve into the trios, the power trios, especially like the 3 you mentioned. Yeah. What are some sort of core sort of fundamentals that you drew from listening to power trios as a bass player?
As a bass player, it's great being in a power trio because there's so much. You have so much influence on the direction of every song. Whenever there's 2 guitar players or a guitar player and a piano or something like that, you kind of got to stay down here, and you gotta fill in that kind of gap. But then whenever you're in a power trio, like nobody ever accused Geddy Lee or Sting of sitting in the background and just serving the song. You kind of have a lot of room to influence the song. You can not play, and suddenly 1/3 of the band is gone, and so you have a huge. Every member of a power trio has just an enormous influence on the sound of the band.
Well, yeah, and you have at least 2 of the power trios you mentioned. I can't remember the 3rd actually, but at least 2 of them have the bass player being like the main vocal element.
Well, I didn't. Unfortunately, fortunately, Kendra is such a great singer. I was just like, I'm not even gonna compete with you for that spot.
Well, she is a great singer, but I hear you singing over there too, and you have
doing my part.
Yeah, doing your part. I hear you singing a lot of high parts.
Yeah,
or at least in at least one of the songs. Yeah.
Yeah. Just as it so happens, I guess Kendra, she was really into singers like Paul Rodgers that had this real kind of like real gutsy kind of vocal part, and I was into all these high singing vocalists, and that's kind of part of the chemistry we have as a couple of singers. Is for some reason she likes the low and I like the high. Very, very weird for it to be in that particular dynamic with her being the girl in the group, but that's how it worked out. You know?
Before we go over to Kendra, I was wondering if you could go back to your hometown and you being a teenager, hearing the
The Corner Friends.
The
was
Corner
the name
Friends.
of,
When you're
the
14,
band.
I remember the first rock band I heard when I was about that age, and how much it meant to me. I mean, I couldn't stop thinking about it for a year.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, it was
yeah.
so powerful. And so, in the town where you lived, this small town where you lived, did you feel like you had a place there, or were you a kid who was kind of solitary? Did you have a tight group of friends who were also at least into music?
Yeah, well, that's the thing about a small town like that where there's not a ton of musicians, is they all found each other. So we did,
Yeah.
we found every room that you could rent to put on shows in. It was just like, especially because we were all teenagers, and like the 2 bars in town you couldn't go into. So we had to we used to rent out party rooms and just cram like all of our collective equipment into it and build a PA
Perfect.
out of that. And just and like whenever I say there were not many musicians, I mean like every show we'd put on, one guy would be like the bass player in the first band, and then the guitar player in the third band, and then the drummer in the fourth one. So we'd say that there were 4 bands, but there were 7 total musicians. So there was a whole lot of that. But one of them was the Corner Friends, and they I had just never, a lot of these bands were 4 and 5 people bands, but this band had 3 members, and they were making so much dynamic impact. I was just like, wow. And also they must have had very little trouble scheduling their practices on account of the fact that there were 3 of them. They probably had only slightly more trouble than we have because 2 of us live together.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
How about musical training for you?
not a whole lot.
Okay, no teachers?
I had a couple teachers, but you assume that adults all know what they're talking about. But I had 2 different teachers, and one of them was a Berkeley graduate, and the other one didn't believe in reading music. And so, one of them was
contrast.
very strict about technique and knowing your scales and knowing all the different possibilities in music, and the other one was just like, use your imagination, man. And that was about all there is to it. I held my pick wrong, and he was just like, yeah, that'll do, fine. So my training was all over the place and contradictory in a lot of ways. And I think that the main takeaway from that was that, do something. Just have a good time.
Yeah.
Make some good music, collect all the knowledge you possibly can, but there's no right or wrong answer, you know? Which is great, because I really like not having to worry about the wrong answer.
Yeah. Hey, Kendra, how about you? How'd you get to play so good?
Hello.
Hi.
I had a guitar teacher. I decided, let me go back a little bit.
Go back to teens.
Yes.
teen
So back when I was in I started playing guitar back in 8th grade, so about 13, 14. But I wanted to play guitar because my older sister did at the time. She had this really cool red Washburn electric guitar that she had got for Christmas, and she'd pull up tabs and learn how to read tabs online. I just remember her in the other room. She was kind of scary at the time. She was she's really nice now, but she had a black belt in Taekwondo. You go in her room and she will beat you up. Look out. So I heard her in the room playing Hell's Bells by AC/DC. She was just like, and I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. So at the time, I wanted to do that too.
So when you said that, did she do a kick? Did she kick you in the side of the head and say, "Get out of my room"?
I mean, pretty much. I used to try to sneak into her room and kind of pick it up and be like, ooh, and try to play her guitar. So so sometimes when she was out with her friends or something, I would be able to play her guitar. And so that's really where it started. I just wanted to do what my sister was doing.
Yeah.
And so from there, I convinced my parents to let me take guitar lessons in 8th grade because my friend was doing it. I was like, look, my older sister ended up stopping playing, but I was like, my friend's doing it. You guys like her, so I should be able to play too.
What happened to the Washburn? Did you get that?
They ended up giving it to me because she kind of stopped playing. But yeah, I guess like as soon as I started playing, she was like, "That's not cool anymore." So, you know, siblings.
Perfect.
So, yeah, so then from there, I just kind of took it and ran with it. And my guitar teacher at the time, he's really the reason I started playing lead and everything. I didn't know anything about guitar. I was just like, I want to do that because my sister was. So
When you went into guitar, did you go into it thinking, well, I'm going to accompany myself singing? Were you already did you already feel yourself established as a singer, at least in your own mind?
I wanted to be, but I was very afraid. I was very shy. I'd secretly, like, in my room sing, but I wanted to be a singer, but I just didn't. I thought that would be the most embarrassing thing in the world, would be to sing in front of your parents. So at the time, I was like not singing. But my guitar teacher at the time, my first lesson, I walked in, he was like, "So you want to be a rock star, right? You want to learn how to play lead guitar?" And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. That sounds cool, I guess. I don't know what lead guitar is versus, I didn't know anything about it.
And you're in 8th grade.
Exactly. Right. So I just said, yeah, let's do it. And then he started teaching me. He asked me what kind of music I liked. And at the time, it was a lot of classic rock, honestly, it was like Metallica, Iron Maiden. It was a lot of like heavier metal, classic rock kind of stuff. So he was like, all right, then we're going to teach you some lead. And I just went with what he told me to practice. And I just sit in my room and just practice a bunch of AC/DC guitar solos.
Okay, so he had you so he did not say, okay, we have to learn these scales and all these modes and all that business first?
He didn't really. He went with tabs first. He went with like learning songs first. I guess just to like teach you the techniques through learning the songs. And eventually we went into more scales and learning that. And some other teachers I had in the future were a little bit more strict, but this first teacher was really all about learning the songs you want to learn to play, and he eventually pushed me into being in a band. So,
yes.
Which is kind of a funny story also. Like I wrote a persuasive essay in my 8th grade English class to my parents to let me be in a band.
Oh, what a great assignment.
It worked. So after that, they let me play in this little rock school band that was like all kids my age that were my guitar teacher was coaching and telling you like how to play together. And so from there, I kind of started off in like the cover band scene, which is funny because it's kind of different than where Colin started. He kind of started of like originally seeing people writing music and seeing that right in front of him, whereas me, it came from a cover band place first. But yeah.
I really like the sound of the adults you had in your life as a young person. Your teacher sounds like he was a person who was ready to kind of take your lead. Sounds like you had an English teacher who was game to let you write a personal essay to your parents, which I think is a wonderful story. I love that.
Sounds like a TV show, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's fantastic.
Kind of funny.
We're going to get back to talking more with Colin and Kendra, and then Jordan too. You're in on this too, Jordan. And you're listening. Yeah. This is Villa Mure you are listening to, folks. There's a lot more music to come and more conversation later on in the program. Welcome to Red Barn Radio. Great to have you with us. Let's get back to some more music with Villa Mure.
It's reverb time. Okay, we're gonna play these next songs as one song, but it's 3 songs. So this is not one long song. Right.
These next 3 are, they're on our album, Push and Pull. They're part of the Part 2 collection. longest night, deepest river, show me things I was never meant to see. Highest peak, you deliver my mind from all I know myself to be. Take me now, show me never, give me eyes to see the in-between. Clear my head, turn it over, make me nothing but a waking memory. but the current pulls me to a changing chord. You didn't know there was a door, but I am frozen, I cannot move. What is the question? I cannot choose. But either way, I'm bound to lose. Am I awakened? Where are you now? And without boundaries, you pull me out. You push and pull my head around. Pull my head around. Oh, you change. Let's rock to the moon, dance on the ripping kites. Caught inside the center of a triangular light, you feel the motion, swallowing the night. Can you see the light? Nauseous, spacing information, dazzling the mind, free of limitations. So we run for miles, we're safe a little while. Luminous, sparkling sea, there you are, infinity. You meet me with your eyes. There you are, a million times. Take a breath of life, another moment comes. Here we go to be ourselves, experience the feeling of your nature. Oh, yeah, safe a little while. Oh my, and let's look forever all around. Watch it move, letting it live the beauty of this place. We'll live forever now. Oh, in each other's minds. light that comes strike your sky. I pick it up and hypnotize. I can see you are coming round. There you are, there you're found.
Thank y'all.
Hey, before we get back to some more music with Villa Mure, I want to tell you about what's coming up. Zoe Howard is going to be on the program next week, and she is an Appalachian rock artist from Salyersville, a small town located in eastern Kentucky. She's always been interested in music and musical instruments. She plays several instruments and has been a real favorite for the many music fans who attend Mountain Arts Center shows in Prestonsburg, Kentucky. She's written a new collection of originals called Yellow Line. Zoe and her band, also called Yellow Line, will be a real treat for us here on Red Barn. Hope you'll join in on the fun with Zoe Howard. That's next time on Red Barn Radio. And now let's get back to tonight's Red Barn Radio program. We come to you live on our social media platforms, broadcasting from the Arts Place Performance Hall here in the grand city of Lexington, Kentucky. Please welcome back Villa Mure to the Red Barn stage.
Y'all make a hell of an audience for like 3 people. And you guys up there. I just can't see you.
Yeah. All right, this one's called Castles. Shall breathe a daydreamer. Who are you? Wave maker, earth shaker. Turner, soul burner outside of space. Who are you? Love teacher, light reacher in every face. seeker, heartbreaker, and where do you fall? Things ain't true. Self-leaver, truth seeker, giver of all. Through and through. Do you choose? Underneath the table, they follow you in before you fall. Things that you bring up millions. All we know to do is move along. Start small. You're building castles. You're building castles in the sky. Letting all reason pass you by. Your fiction running dry. Imagination's gonna rise. You're building castles. You're building castles in the air. Accept your fiction if you dare. Nothing to say, nothing to share. No way to tell you're really there. We're painting pictures. We're painting pictures in the dark. Tell us where we are. No way to tell us where we are. No way to tell us where we are. Only go slow. Only go slow. This is a song from our first EP. It's called In the Room.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Listening this evening to Red Barn Radio program number 700. No. Oh, if you're out there listening and you're not finding this music exciting, then I don't want you on my team.
Get out of here.
No, you can still be on our team, but I hope you're having a great time like we are here. You guys, how exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying
Really,
so.
really enjoying it. So I wonder if we might go now to, and Colin, I think I'll have you introduce Jordan, since you sort of suggested that you guys were kidhood buddies, or did you just grow up in the same town?
The same hometown.
Oh, just the same hometown. Okay.
Actually, really weird set of coincidences, like similar things we had in common, but we only met in our 20s.
Oh.
Like we were even in the same band at different times.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least you weren't in at the same time.
Yeah. Now we're in this band.
Yeah,
together,
you are.
But there was a band at one point that he was the drummer of, and then after his tenure in that band, I was the bass player of that band. And actually, we've come to find that a lot of people we know were in that band at one time or another. It was one of those bands that just kind of like.
What band was it?
It was a band called Two Sly Deuce.
Oh, yeah, I
And-
was in that band.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
figured.
Right after
I was
me.
in that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Played the slide
Just
whistle.
just for a short time.
Short time. Yeah. So you want me to introduce him? That's
Please.
Jordan.
Hello.
He's a great guy. You
Good to be here.
can depend on him for all your percussion needs and all other needs too.
Oh, excellent.
Not all needs, but
All
yeah.
need, actually all needs. Anytime we've needed something, he's been like, "Oh yeah, I've got one of those in my trunk." Like anything
Nice.
at all.
Extra cable, yeah. sticks,
I
sticks,
forgot
all
my
that.
passport. I've got your passport in my trunk.
Hey, Jordan. So tell us about you and when you started playing and who taught you.
All right. Probably for me, it would be my dad. He played piano when he was a kid and did a lot of church stuff, worship leading things. So me and my sister, we were kids. We learned piano. He taught us and stuff, kind of the basics of music. But then when I got to 6th grade, I joined band. And I wanted to be a drummer, so that's what I was going to do. So that's my primary thing. But over the years, I've picked up guitar and bass, playing around and whatnot. So I played through a lot of churches on my own. I was in the cover band scene for a little bit and kind of just wanted something different. And met them through another band. They were playing in a cover band together, and they needed a drummer for their stuff, and they were kind of acoustic. And I was like, well, easy gig, sounds good. So I joined them as the drummer, and they went from playing acoustic to rock and roll, and we've kind of been together, I guess, about 4 years now, 3 or 4 years.
So who are the drummers you like? I mean, following Colin, would it be like Neil Peart and Stuart Copeland?
I like
and
Lars
Ginger
Ulrich
Baker?
from Metallica. I like Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater, John Bonham from Zeppelin, a lot of those guys. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So.
Those are all pretty good ones.
Mhm,
Yeah. Did you learn early on? Did you learn rudiments in the whole business?
Right,
You're a tasty
pretty much.
player.
Exactly. Like I said, my dad had done it in band, so I kind of got the idea of how it went playing. But then when 6th grade, with my friends, we were all in band. That's all we did through high school. Marching band, a little bit of jazz band, concert band. So,
And how does this suit you? This seems like a great opportunity for a percussionist. To me, to play these songs that are wide open like
oh
this.
yeah, it was very good. Like I said, they were doing acoustic together. Sometimes when they play acoustic, one will play guitar, one will play cajon. So a lot of their songs, they already had percussion parts kind of laid out, a cajon, and that's what Kendra had given me. I was like, oh, that's easy. So I built off of that, and I get to do my own spin and taste. But that's primarily how the music writing's been going. They come up with riffs together, and they'll come back and just a basic beat, and I get to do whatever I want to it. So pretty easy.
Yeah, well, you do some great things to it. Sounds
Thanks.
really, really great back there. Kendra, I wonder if we might do this. Could you, why don't you talk about Colin a little bit?
Oh, no.
So this is a marital exercise. No,
Gosh.
why don't you
gonna
talk
fail.
about Colin and sort
break
of
up on live
how
TV.
you see his the gift that he brings to the music that you guys like to do together.
So I have a lot. I feel like I have a lot to say about that.
Excellent.
So I had played with a lot of different musicians in the past, and a lot of them kind of made me feel afraid to branch out and just play. And because sometimes musicians, they're very critical here and there. Certain ones, if you get in the wrong group of people, it can kind of like make you kind of shy, like creatively.
Can
So
I ask you this? Just to interrupt you for a second. Is that especially because in the role of a woman lead guitarist in a band that you felt that way, or is that not necessarily the case?
sometimes, yes.
Yeah,
Like I've played with a lot of different musicians that I would end up just kind of stepping back and letting them do everything, you know, like sometimes I would get more credit for what I would do because I'm a girl, even though the other guy next to me might play the same thing and he wouldn't get any credit. So like,
Oh, that's interesting.
that would sometimes cause like the other guitar player to like, you know, not there's you know.
just weird dynamics.
Yes, so
Right.
it's kind of odd sometimes, but ever since I met Colin in college, and we were just friends, I was showing him riffs, and we would just play and jam together and just go play different bands together and just hang out and just write, and like it felt like a freeing feeling, and I can't. It's so hard to describe. I feel like I've been getting like sideways eyes at me whenever I play a wrong note from other people, but whenever me and Colin started playing together, it was like he's like pushing me to try to be. He's the one who said, you should be the only guitar player. You should be playing lead and singing and doing this. You can do it. And he basically wanted to provide a platform for me to expand my creative horizons and let me just play anything. And I can play wrong notes everywhere. And he doesn't give me like any criticism about it. He's like, make some sound paintings, do whatever, you know, suits you. So yeah, it's a lot of good feelings out of that.
Yeah, very nice. Sounds,
So-
yeah.
Not
And
a believer
then
in wrong notes.
and now, Colin, you the same question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've just always, ever since I was probably 20, something like 20, 21, whenever I saw Kendra, she was playing with a cover band. And she was just a fantastic singer and a fantastic guitar player. And like I said, whenever I saw her, it was just like her style was like that's the counterpart I need. That's the, because you know there are 100 million great guitar players in the world, and so it's less about, whenever you pick bandmates, it's less about who is capable of doing the job and more about the the chemistry, both as people and as musicians. You don't want to have to tell somebody what you want. You just kind of want to mesh together. You want to complete each other's sentences. And as a guitar player, Kendra always kind of did that. Like she talks about how not critical I am, but in reality, I just think everything she does is great. So that was it. Just like both as a person and as a musician, I feel that, I just feel my sentences being completed, and my I feel a very natural kind of chemistry between her and I, and I've always felt that way about her on lots of different levels. Side note, we're both graphic designers too, so we have a very, like, we both went to school for graphic design. That's actually kind of how we met, and so we have a very very inherent kind of understanding of the way that each other's brain works.
And how is that?
Well, it's just like, describing feelings and describing abstract things is a lot easier to do whenever you have a similar frame of reference. Like sometimes I'll be describing something, I'll be like, how whenever two colors are right next to each other and one of them feels like it should match, but it doesn't because it's just a little bit too warm, and she'll be like, I know that feeling exactly. And so we just have this entire other language on top, like, because musicians already inherently understand a lot of things about each other, and so we have that medium to kind of connect. But on top of that, we also have a visual art kind of understanding.
Yeah, but that other point of reference seems pretty critical, because
It is.
Yes, musicians have that to understand, but they also are constantly clashing.
Absolutely, and it's not to say we don't clash, but it really does. Whenever you have a lot of different ways to explain abstract things like feelings or ideas or something like that. You really have an ability to connect in a way that's a lot more seamless, a lot smoother, and that can be, you know, whenever you get into something like music and you're creating something together that you both are absolutely wearing your heart on your sleeves. You know, every avenue by which you can communicate with each other is, you know, it's powerful and it's important, and that's one of the really nice things about you know, working with Kendra, and we've kind of always had that, like, because we met in a visual arts class. And so already, like, a lot of the things about my world, she, like, inherently understood. So, and then on top of that, you know, the dynamic of being a guitar player and being a bass player, you know, you add a lot to each other, but at the same time, you both think melodically, you both think in terms of chord changes. You know, you both think in terms of, you know, attack and release. It's just, I think we have a really kind of unique dynamic in our ability to create music together and just understand each other as human beings.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, it seems that way.
Seems that way. Hang around a little bit.
You know,
sometimes it does get rough.
Well, you kind of make me want to take a visual arts class. See who I'd meet.
They're fun.
No.
They're fun.
So, well, so let's talk about your music and what are some of the ideas contained in these lengthy songs that go all over the place and bring up so much stuff. Can you talk a little bit about some of the songs that you've played so far? I'm like, for instance. Hypochondriac. Let's go back. That was way back at the beginning. Where does that song come from?
That song musically comes from how much I always wanted to be in the police, but lyrically it comes from you know, normally I kind of like to write in ways that can be interpreted in a lot of different ways, but that one is named because it is what I am, an absolute nervous wreck when it comes to matters of my health. So as you can imagine, this last year has been an absolute nightmare for me.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting feeling being a hypochondriac. You really there's just always something tapping on your shoulder telling you that something's wrong. And while I can't say that I know hundreds of other people who have the exact same anxiety, I have met a lot of people who have anxieties like that, where it's like, it's invisible. There's just something that keeps reminding you not to be comfortable. You know, whether it's about your relationships with other people or about your place in the world. And for me, it's just the reality that, you know, there are lots of ways that you could suddenly be compromised and your life could end. And I suffer from an autoimmune disease, so I am constantly in discomfort and pain.
You have gotcha. So you have reason. to be concerned
So
about your
yeah,
health,
it's not. I mean, I've always had nervousness about, you know, the invisible problems that, you know, that a human body can go through. But in particular for me, it's extra maddening because I actually am usually in pain, and you know, at any point your brain is saying there's got to be a reason why you're in pain. There's got to be a reason why you're hurting, and it'll drive you nuts. It'll drive you absolutely crazy, and that's just not, there's no getting over that.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't go away. You can calm yourself, but it doesn't like disappear. So you have to. You know, you just have to write songs about those kind of things.
Yeah, and have you developed? And so, do you mind me asking what kind of pain do you have? Do you have migraines?
I have rheumatoid arthritis, but
wow.
it's luckily not in my wrists because that would ruin my life. It's in my my chest actually, where all the important organs are.
Yeah,
the ones that keep you alive. So so you can imagine just constant pains all around this area is terrifying. You know, so yeah, you just got to remind yourself. It's like, oh, I feel like I can't breathe. Well, that's how it is. You know, oh, I feel like my heart is got a stabbing pain in it. Well, you know, you've had that forever, but still. So whenever I wrote the bass part, it feels like the way that it feels in my head. It feels like there's something wrong and it's not resolving. It feels like you should be doing something, but what, you know? And that's kind of that's the one song that I feel like I really had to articulate a feeling because I know I'm not the only one, you know? I'm not the only person on earth who has these things that are just like, you can't get comfortable. And it's not because there's not plenty of comfort to be felt. It's just because your mind is looking for something that may not even be there.
Yeah, but you are the only person living in that body, and
that's
you,
true.
this
And
is
I'm
your
the
world.
and I'm the only
Right.
one who knows what I feel like. And
Yeah,
that's
right.
also, it's a very scary and lonely feeling in a way.
Wow.
So, you know, what we do with feelings we can't resolve, we write songs
Yeah,
about them.
yeah. Well, a very constructive thing to do with that. And would you mind addressing that a little bit, Kendra? Like you have some songs coming up. Well, Saint Medallion and her Corner Friends.
That's a fun one.
There we go. Paint the Sky. Can you tell us at all about either of those last couple of tunes that you'll be playing for us tonight?
I can tell you about Paint the Sky.
Oh, do.
That's a nice one. Me and Colin, we used to we'd go watch the sunset and we'd be like, that's a nice sky painting tonight. Whoever did that, we came up with this whole idea that like after you die, like your name goes in this hat and they draw it and every person has to paint the sky at some point. So when it's dreary or whenever it's really pretty, it's like, oh, that person was a great artist. So everybody gets to paint the sky at some point. And so we came up with just this idea, just we would say all the time. And then we decided to write a song about it one day after we listened to a lot of Fish. Toward the end of the song, it repeats, it's my time to paint the sky, it's my time. So it was just a whole nice little idea that we just kind of for fun came up with, and then it turned into a song. So
Wow, very nice.
Some
You
of them
guys-
have happy endings.
Go ahead, sorry.
Some of them have happy endings.
Well, this has been a happy night for us. We've sure had a great time, and we are so glad that you were able to come and play on Red Barn. Just really filling us up. We're enjoying. Can't wait to hear more music. You are with Villa Mure, folks, and we're glad to have you with us and glad to have Villa Mure with us. Thanks, Colin Lemure, Kendra Villager, and Jordan Hubbard for a great evening of music.
thank you so much for having us.
Back to Villa Mure.
So this next song was written by our friend Chris Maples of the band The Corner Friends, and we're going to do our best job with it. Go for it. All right, hustler, rip it.
Thank you. Tune back up real quick. All right, this next one is the one we were talking about a little bit ago, Paint the Sky. This is from our first EP, and it's one of our favorites to do. What do you say, Colin?
It's also my mom's favorite.
is coming, you know, time is coming, you know, time is coming. Ooh, time is coming. Oh, the time is coming. Oh, the time is coming. Oh, the time is coming. It's my time to paint the sky. It's my time. It's my time to paint the sky. It's my time. It's my time to paint the sky. It's my time. It's my time to paint the sky. It's my time. 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 It's my It's my time to paint the sky. It's my time. It's my time to paint the sky. It's my time. Thank you.
We would like to thank Villa Mure for being with us this evening. We also thank our volunteers and staff for their help in making our production happen each and every week. Thank you all for listening to our webcast, watching us on YouTube and Twitch, and those listening to us on the network of Red Barn stations. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn Radio's official radio partner, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Listen online at weku.org. It's your chance to hear more great live music from Red Barn Radio and WEKU. Red Barn Radio comes to you from our home, the Arts Place Performance Hall in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Our website has updates and further information on our guests and our program. We're on the web at redbarnradio.com. And now, once again, folks, please welcome back Villa Mure to the Red Barn stage.
Thank you all. It's been such a great time playing for you. This last song is called Present Tense. It's a new one, and we're working on a single for it at the moment. So we hope to post that soon. You can find us on all the social medias, Spotify, YouTube, everything. So
We're on the internet.
yeah. So thank you all again so much. It's been a pleasure playing for you, and we are Villa Mure. This song is called Present Tense. Collecting pieces of a purpose I hear in a song that drifts to me. It's just on the wind, receiving currents in my head, radio waves, shaking up all the thoughts I put to rest. Maybe maybe you tell. Is it for this? And you are already right here, and you know it well, that if you look it in the eye, it just might, oh, it might be a spell. Maybe a spell. Have we found something? If it isn't always like this, we'll find it again. We'll find it again. Find it again. Oh, we'll find it again. Find it
Well, that's all for our show for this week. You can see and hear Red Barn Radio worldwide. How? Well, we stream live on the web on YouTube and Twitch, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern in North America. We have archive performances on Spotify and iTunes, and we have video on the Red Barn Radio YouTube channel. And you know what? If you live in Central Kentucky, you can also check in to Red Barn TV, our weekly program of music now on ABC 36, WTVQ. Is that enough for you? All right, well, from all of us here at Red Barn Radio to all of our friends worldwide, it is our hope that you have a great week. Thanks for being with us. Keep working together to be safe and healthy. And until next time, good night from Red Barn Radio.